Donald Trump is flatlining at the top. If you look at people like Taylor Swift and others, they're helping to get young people involved. They're going to overwhelm the Republicans this year.
Welcome back to a brand new season of ICE Your Trade. Thank you for joining us. If you really want to know what's going on in the global economy, ask someone from Wall Street. But if you want to know about money, politics, and the rise of digital currencies, there is one Wall Street banker in particular that perhaps knows more than most. I'm joined by founder of SkyBridge Capital and former White House Communications Director, Anthony Scaramucci. Anthony, thank you very much for joining us today.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're here because you're an advocate for crypto. Just cutting to the chase, where do you see prices going over the next 12 months?
Well, I think you have to step back and just address the macro situation for a second. U.S. will finally get its act together as it relates to regulation, and there will be a waterfall of demand from institutional investors. It won't just be the Michael Saylors anymore, but there'll be a very large group of people. So with that as a backdrop, I think prices for Bitcoin could easily get to 150,000 to 200,000 over the next year and a half.
You mentioned regulation being one component of that. Regulation is something that the industry has been calling for such a long time, and it hasn't quite gotten there yet. You think it's going to happen?
Well, I think in the United States, you have to follow the money. And so what's happening is the crypto bros, they're pounding money into the presidential campaign. If you like Donald Trump or dislike Donald Trump, I think he was very wise to get on board the crypto idea, speak at the Bitcoin conference. I think he's got close to $100 million of campaign donations from the crypto community. And, if he wins the election, by the way, if you go back and do the autopsy, it could be because of that.
So now you can be in a position of watching it from afar, but you must have some predictions of the outcome.
I am for Vice President Harris. I have endorsed her, but I do think she's going to win, and I'll just explain why. It's just a math equation. The Democrats have more registrants than the Republicans now. The largest, of course, are the independents, are over 40% of the registrations. But this is a get-out-the-vote election. The Democrats have more money. They have more field offices in those swing states. And there's great polarity in terms of the people that are running. And if you look at the net negatives to Donald Trump versus the net positives, frankly, because if you look at the polling, Trump has net negatives. The vice president has net positives. And I believe that she's going to build an Obama-like coalition between now and the election. And of course, if you look at people like Taylor Swift and others, they're helping her get young people involved in the registration process. And I think that they're going to overwhelm the Republicans this year.
And we talked about a lot of the economic effects, but what about just for democracy in general? You've actually gone as far as saying a Trump presidency, a second term, is a systemic danger to democracy. Those are pretty harsh words. Why is Trump such a risk?
All of the middle-of-the-road Republicans are no longer with him. They fled him and are frankly denouncing him. And he's now with the alt-right. And the alt-right have built these transition programs like Project 2025. And if you read through Project 2025, it's an extreme situation. They want to dislocate the FBI, take it out of the Department of Justice, and have it report directly to the president. They want to liquidate 50,000 jobs inside the government and then make the 50,000 people that they rehire. So there's a lot of things that he's willing. He's not George Washington, okay? Let's put it that way. He may think of himself as George Washington, and he's, probably wearing a wig like George Washington once wore. Maybe that's the only thing they have in common. But he's not George Washington, and he's a systemic danger to the United States. And so I don't mind saying it because I believe it. And if you read the stuff that he wants to do, or you hear him from the podium, it's not American things to say. He's going after the Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio. He's spewing lies that are causing death threats and bomb threats. He's saying he's going to deport 15 million people from the country. So I guess we're going to have a Handmaid's Tale episode where we've got armored vehicles all over the country. And then where are you going to put these people when you're going to deport them? You have to put them in camps. So he's going to concentrate them in camps. You have to really understand what he wants to do. And then you have to say, okay, is that where we want to go with America, or do we want to go forward with America with something more unifying and more healing? And I believe that the center-right coalition for the United States has been crushed by Donald Trump.
So for our viewers and listeners on this podcast, the investment opportunities out there must be massive. I mean, talk about AI, talk about electric battery, but beyond that, you see the equity markets going crazy. You see fixed income yields swinging, volatile. Where do you see the upcoming investment opportunities?
So my message to people is that as long as we don't hurt each other, if we can keep relative peace and stability around the world, which is why I want a stable American government, we can have great prosperity and we can have great abundance around the world. Now, we're going to have to figure out through good policy how to share that prosperity and how to deepen and widen the wealth in our societies. It's something we have to work on.
Yeah, if you look at the vintages of 2008, 2009, in any asset class, those returns outsized, holding the longer term.
But it's counterintuitive, because when you feel fear, you want to run away from something. But in the capital markets, when you feel that fear, you want to run towards those things. And that was also the case with Bitcoin in 2022 after the FTX Sam Bankman-Fried debacle. Bitcoin went from 69,000 in November of 2021 to 17,000 by February, March of 2022. It was a debacle. 2023 was a debacle.
Yeah, be greedy when others are fearful. Warren Buffett.
Amen. I think it's very important.
Wonderful. On that note, thank you very much for joining us.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
A big thank you to our special guest, Anthony Scaramucci, founder of SkyBridge Capital and former White House advisor. Thanks for tuning in to I See Your Trade Season 5. I See Your Trade is brought to you by IC Markets, a leading high-performance trading provider. Trade up to IC Markets. See you next time.